Jacksonville Jaguars are having a fire sale, just like you said, right?
So sad.
And the number one thing that came up today was the fact that they were trying to trade, no, that they did trade Christian Kirk to the Houston Texans for a 2026 seventh round pick. And there's some other news with the Jacksonville Jaguars that have gone out today. But just with this right here, do you think that was a smart move for the Jacksonville Jaguars to let go of I'm not going to say a top tier receiver, but he can bring a lot of production to the offense?
Yep. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you got a new offensive or you got a new head coach coming in, you got a new whole system on offense going. Coaching staff might have taken a look at Kirk. He might not have been exactly what they were looking for at their wide receiver 2, maybe wide receiver 3. Liam Cohen's offense, it's different. It's diverse. So I think that they might have just been looking at it and said that Kirk's just not exactly what we want. Getting him for a seventh round pick, I mean, on paper, it sounds like a bad deal. I think most people would be like, oh, let's go for like we could probably get a fourth or a fifth. But these days, fourth or a fifth round pick is probably going to get you most starting level players, even some star level players in certain circumstances. So, it sucks for Jacksonville, but I think I wouldn't have made the move. I would have liked to have seen what Kirk could do in the offense, but it's Cohen's team. He's running now, and he's making this decision right here. What he thinks best affects the offense.
Yeah, I think it would be better for them to keep him. I think Trevor Lawrence has gotten very comfortable with Christian Kirk, especially throwing the deep ball with him. He has
Yeah,
some good hands. He doesn't really drop a lot of passes. And I'm not surprised that they traded him for a seventh round pick because with these top tier wide receivers or these top tier players around the NFL, they get traded for like third round picks, fourth round picks if you're a top notch, even a pro bowler. Like
yeah,
Debo Samuel, for instance, he got traded for a fifth round pick to the Washington Commanders, and you would think that he'd get traded for more.
yep,
But that's how it is with the NFL. So I'm not really surprised there. But I think
yeah.
it was just surprising that they traded away Kirk with the chemistry that he has with Trevor Lawrence, and that we're gonna bring up in just a little bit with the releasing of another receiver in the team.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he almost kind of feels like that Chris Godwin role for the Bucks offense, and it's like, why would you trade a guy like you said? He's got that comfortability with Kirk or with Trevor, and it's like it doesn't make sense. But again, it's the Jaguars. It's Duval. Not a lot of it makes sense. So,
Diva. Yeah,
yep.
yeah. The other player I was talking about, he's not a receiver, he's a tight end, but the way that he plays is kind of like a receiver. It's Evan Ingram that he got released today, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are saving $5.98 million in salary cap space.
Mhm.
Again, do you think this is a smart move for Jacksonville?
I mean, you're saving five. What was it? 5.9 million in cap space they save,
Yeah,
right?
almost six. Almost six.
Yeah, I mean, Ingram, he correct me if I'm wrong, he's getting up there in age. So maybe you might start seeing a little bit of diminishing returns on value. But again, it's continuity. You have a youngish quarterback. Why are you trying to get rid of all the guys that are comfortable with him? At least if you want to see if it's going to play out or not. I think Cohen, I think he's being a little too ambitious in his first year with the team. Like I think he's trying to pick apart everything so quickly, what doesn't work, what does work. And it's like, dude, you haven't even really seen how Ingram and how Kirk will do in this offense. Like, give them time. And it's just, I feel like Jaguars are just being way too impatient right now with these players, in my opinion.
Yeah. And up on the screen, guys, I know it says save $15.4 million in cap space, but that's because of the fact of his contract, the length of his contract, the years on the contract. But this year, this offseason, they'll be saving
Yep.
5.98, almost $6 million. But no, I'm
Yeah.
with you, man. I they had a down year. You would think like they were gonna have a good year. They were gonna compete with the Houston Texans in that division. But the way that their offense was showing was not what they wanted. Their defense was not where they wanted as well. But now you're getting rid of two receivers that had some great chemistry with Trevor Lawrence, that have been putting up some points in fantasy in the league itself. And I don't think it was just the right move for this. I get it. You want to rebuild, and maybe you want to get some draft picks in return and save some money and try to sign some other players. But I feel like you should have just tried to see if you, as a coach, you're coming in as a new coach with what you did in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, developing that offense, why
Mm.
can't you do that with a Jacksonville Jaguars offense where they have a good QB, two good running backs, a few good receivers? Like,
Yeah.
I felt like you could have made it work.
Yeah.
Pulling the trigger on this was too quick for me, but hey, man,
Yeah.
I'm not the coach.
Well, and these are the type of moves though too that you make when you feel like you're a player or two where you feel like these guys aren't actually going to contribute. But you have a new coach, a new system. On top of that, they weren't world beaters last year. Jacksonville was a laughing stock last year. So it's not like they're, one or two players away from winning a championship. You could afford to see how these guys fit in your system and your scheme, and then after that, yeah, if they don't work, cut them. But again, it's you're not even waiting for training camp for these two guys that I think aren't they're not game changers in terms of like stars, but they can still make a difference on offense.
I wonder if it's like, yo, I saw the film on these players. I think they're trash. Let's get rid of them. Or it's, oh, let me talk to the other coaches on the team. Let me talk to the GM. Well, the GM is new. So the other coaches on the team, let me talk to the
Oh, they're
other
all
players.
new.
What do you guys think? You guys think we should cut these guys loose? You guys think we should keep them? I wonder how it really goes with that, because it's like, if you're coming in as a coach and you're making the decisions yourself, which I hardly doubt that is, I think you're going to,
Mhm.
as a collective of coaches, you're going to make these decisions.
Yeah.
But I just don't see how, like, they can look at these players and be like, okay, let's release them, let's risk it and try to get some other good players, when Jacksonville is not really a destination for free agents.
They're
Like,
not.
so I don't know. I don't know.
It
I don't
seems
really
like
think the
they're.
move.
It seems like their most notable free agent that I can remember, the one that actually made an impact, was like Calais Campbell. Like that was
Mhm.
pretty much like the last big one for them. So and maybe like Calvin Ridley, but like yeah, it's not a premier place. You're trying to build a culture. You're trying to start. You're trying to start something. Why don't you take your time and figure out who your guys are instead of just cutting left, right, and center? Just because it's going to save you $6 million for Engram, and then I don't even know how much it was for Kirk. Like
Mhm.
it's not going to be enough. I don't think. And you can afford to wait and take your time with this, but that's the way. That's this new Duval regime. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think no matter what, Houston's going to take that division. So I don't think Jacksonville is going to go anywhere.